The Grand Superhero Plan. Author Vibha Lohani. Illustrator Sharanya Singh. Gillu aka Gulvinder knew he was a superhero. His grandmother had once told him that children born with deformed limbs were actually grievously injured superheroes in the previous birth. He believed her. God bless Grandma, wherever she is. Rinku, his best friend, agreed. Indeed, it must be so. Grandmothers don't lie, remarked Rinku. You are 9 years old, good at studies, and even better at plucking mangoes. Your crutches are like a weapon or a magic wand. One swish and wave and the ferocious street dog runs away whimpering, he said. But Duggu's gang in school made fun of this theory. They laughed at Gillu. What kind of a superhero are you? You can't even dance, Duggu said before everyone. Rinku unsuccessfully wrestled with Duggu for Gillu, but could not even last a minute before the bulky boy. Gillu felt Duggu was right in a way. Gillu has been thinking since then. Rinku was upset. He had never seen Gillu so serious. Are you sad, Gillu? Asked Rinku. No, Rinku, superheroes are never sad. They just think, replied Gillu. Rinku nodded in agreement. This time he was thinking too. Next afternoon, Gillu and Rinku went to Captain Uncle's house. Lunch was served. The food was delicious. Without wasting any time, the boys grabbed their bites. Captain Uncle couldn't hide his surprise at how much 2 9-year-olds can eat. The boys hardly spoke as their mouths were full. When lunch was over, Rinku felt his stomach would burst out. The last gulab jamun was still trying to find a place in his stomach. Gillu seemed comfortable. How do I know what you are saying is right? Grandmother knew a lot about superheroes. She told me about Guru Nanak. Gillu answered. Maybe Grandma forgot to tell you about it. She was a human being after all, said the captain. What if you are wrong? You too are a human being, after all, remarked Gillu. He called out Chaman Kaka, his house help. Chaman Kaka, please bring my crutches. The captain raised the hem of his trouser and unbuckled the artificial leg. Gillu and Rinku could not believe their eyes. Captain Uncle was a superhero too. Gillu laughed. He was sure about his superhero status now. Rinku felt a little out of place between the two superheroes. Yet he was happy. Gillu was his old self again. How do we teach Duggu a lesson about superheroes? Rinku asked in his squeaky voice. Rinku is right. Duggu needs a lesson about superheroes, said Captain Suraj. But how, Captain Uncle? Asked Gillu. There is a lot more to being a superhero than just dancing or playing football. Superheroes are meant to save people. They should not be afraid even in the scariest situation. The trio put their thinking hats on. It was time to make a superheroic plan. There was a moment of silence. The wind outside made a whirling sound almost like an owl hooting in the night. Chaman Kaka said, "Sometimes I think this old badam tree in the garden is haunted. There might be a ghost living in it making all those sounds." The tree, Chaman Kaka mentioned was an old fruitless badam tree standing tall by the cottage's boundary wall. Captain Uncle asked, "Gillu, do you think there is a ghost living in the badam tree?" Gillu shook his head and said, "How can a ghost live in a badam tree? Wouldn't he fall off when asleep?" Captain Uncle added, "Do you know, boys who bully others are actually themselves very scared of things?" As if all three has the same idea, and the grand superhero plan was finally made in the living room of Captain Uncle's cottage. The boys had to wait till Saturday to carry out the plan. Rinku, who had dozed off on the branch, woke with a startle and lost his balance. He fell off the branch, but because he was tied to the rope, Rinku kept hanging instead of hitting the ground. He was still covered with the white bed sheet. Duggu was standing right beneath the tree, looked up and saw a white object flying down. "GHH. Ghost," shouted Duggu in a hurry. He fell off his cycle. Splash! Meanwhile, Captain Uncle and Chaman Kaka took Rinku to the hospital. Rinku had sprained his ankle. The doctor advised him to rest. On Monday, both Gillu and Rinku went to school. Rinku, Gillu said, "Do you think Duggu is scared to come to school also? Or maybe he is seriously injured?" Rinku shook his head and gestured Gillu towards the classroom. Duggu was standing by the door. As the two friends entered the class, they were surprised that Duggu and all the other children clapped for Gillu, the superhero.